Hey YouTube, I'm Sergeant Indy, and this is Ninjectory, my DevTober project. This is my 4th DevVlog and the penultimate one. So a little bit out of the way. Don't expect a video next Friday. I have an army buddy who's still in the Washington Guard, and he's going away for training for a few months. So next Friday we're doing a going away party. I'm probably going to spend most of the day cooking a bunch of stuff to take over there for it. So I don't think I'll have a chance to do my final dev vlog for DevTober, which is also supposed to be my, like at the end of DevTober, you're supposed to do like a post-mortem. I'm probably going to, like maybe I'll write something too, but I'm definitely doing my final dev vlog. Anyway, expect that Monday instead. In the meantime, this is Ninjectory. I have a new intro cutscene that I'm going to let speak for itself. And then I'll talk about what I've done this week when I get started playing. So let's get started with that intro. Okay, so that's our intro cutscene. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cheesy. I love it. I think I'm changing one of the lines. The line that Barry says at the end in the Oval Office. You know, Madam President, only one man can. And to specifically point out why. You know, like John is both a rocket scientist and a ninja, and that's why it's important that the audience knows that. You know, these are the briefings. You guys have seen almost all of these, so I'm just gonna click through them. Not a big deal, if you've been following anyway. So this is my tutorial level, R_tutorial. Very exciting. I'm just gonna go through it. Currently, there's like a spawner here, and there's like a spawner here, and that's it. Eventually, this thing will have its own wave controller. Kind of like the last boss has its own wave controller just by necessity. Like the levels that are just like, hey, missiles come down, blow them up, they can all share a controller. But something like this, I need like some text to pop up that say, you know, hit this button to swing your sword. If you need to turn around quick, hit this button to use your brake. Hold this button to boost. That kind of thing. And I just haven't managed to build that yet because I am having trouble coming up with a way to show text while the player is playing the game in a way that I find satisfactory. At any rate, for the first 2 waves, this level's designed to be easy. I mean, look at all this dead room, right? Fly way over here before you start getting buildings, and then they're stacked up till the end. And the missiles all come from the other side of the screen, but like for this last wave, I want them coming like more directly from above too, because it's like, you know, press this button to swing your sword, that's wave 1. Wave 2 is, you know, if you need to turn around quick, use your brake, and then wave 3 is, you know, if you gotta move fast, hold this button to boost, kind of thing. Micro missiles are added to the mix now. Again, if you guys are following my devlogs, you've seen all this. I'm just hammering through it. The current World 1 does not contain all of the missiles. It is regular missiles, micro missiles, the fat missiles, the big gnarly ones. Oops. Fast missiles, and then a missile I don't think you guys have even seen yet. I call it a Sidewinder. I know I talked about it a bit last week, but I don't think I had actually built it by then. The Sidewinder doesn't come from the top. It comes from around here, and it flies parallel to the ground and then arcs sharply down when it's over its target. I'm still working out some kinks with that one, like the emitters I use for its 2 engines aren't quite right. Excuse me. But then on top of that, like some of the levels where the Sidewinder come into play are really hard. and this is only supposed to be like the first 10 levels of the game, it probably shouldn't be that difficult. Speaking of difficult, there's no guarantees I'm going to be able to get through the last level. The last level's our first quote-unquote boss encounter. It's not really a boss encounter, it's more like a chapter end set piece kind of thing, right? Anyway, at the end of that, there's a big thing, and this is my second time recording because the first time it broke. Or it didn't break. It broke me. Okay, so it's supposed to be more complicated than it. Again, I'm just going to click through this. If you guys are following this, you've seen this before. There's supposed to be a part where it spawns way too many missiles, and then, like, eventually, well, I'll let you see it. I'll explain it when it happens. At any rate, there's a feature of that I haven't gotten working a way I like yet, so I more or less just got rid of it. And so as a result, like, this feature is supposed to be something that helps you as a player finish. So as a result, like, I tried like 3 times and I couldn't beat it, so I just turned it down for now. I turned down the wave intensity, and that should make things a bit less completely ridiculous, but we'll see. For now, again, all of this stuff's real easy, but it's kind of supposed to be, and I don't know, like, every time I'm playing it, I'm like, this is too easy, I don't know, I don't like it, or whatever, but I have to remember that, like, you know, I break turn really aggressively. You know, I'm probably better at the game than most people will be for their first go. So the first world probably should be easy. None of the countermeasure enemies are in the game. Enemies, missiles, whatever. So like the air to ninja missile isn't in, the jammer isn't in, the EMP isn't in. There's one more I can't think of. Oh, the armored missile's technically kind of a countermeasure, because they're like, well, if this dude's cutting our missiles with his swords, let's give him some armor, that kind of thing. So World 2 is going to be about introducing all of those countermeasures, probably, or at least most of them, and mixing it up a little bit. And I have a boss planned for the second bit. I don't have a boss planned for anything beyond that, though. Oh well, this is all well past the scope of Devtober, so, you know, screw it. At any rate, like I said, this stuff's really easy for me, and I'm not entirely sure whether I need to tweak it or not. I'm thinking about, you know, ultimate goal is a demo, right? And so I'm thinking about putting out a demo and then being, you know, like, having a survey to go along with it, if that makes any sense. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Well, I mean, I know how I'm going to do Google Doc. Okay, so let's get a bit more specific. There's probably 2 demos I'm going to put out. Like, if you saw at the opening menu, I've got something called Flight Test. And what Flight Test does is it essentially randomly generates the list of missiles for that mission. And that, you know, can come from any missile in the game. And so that's not going to be in the normal demo, because it's like, you know, why buy the cow? You can get the milk for free kind of thing, right? The normal demo is just going to be this, what I'm showing you guys now, with the boss fight at the end, and then maybe if I can afford it, a brief cutscene at the end of all of that instead of my little Metroid tribute. Anyway, so I'm thinking about putting 2 demos out. One would be just for normal people, and that would be this. And the second one would be for, like, my developer friends, or for maybe people who did Devtober alongside me, or whatever. And that would include the flight test mode, where they could just play essentially an endless sort of round of whatever missiles they got, as well as the old level progression, which is, all those levels are now marked as, like if you can see in the top center when I'm playing them, it's like, you know, R_1- whatever. They're all marked R2- whatever. And there wouldn't be any saving for it, but they could still go through and fight all of the missiles by doing that second thing, just so I can get a bit more of a nuanced opinion from people who are also game developers and friends of mine, if that makes any sense. Anyway, the survey I put out will probably be, you know, how do you feel about the difficulty of this, that, or whatever? Do you think it could go up a little bit, etc.? Do you think it feels right for the first 10 levels of the game, kind of thing? And a few other things. And I'm thinking maybe if there's a way I can set it up, if you do the survey when you're done with the demo, maybe I'll give you the copy that's got the endless mode in it and whatever, so you can play a bit more of the game, because that encourages people to do the demo, or to do the survey. Anyway, so this is the new missile, the Sidewinder. I'll click through this one a bit more slowly so that you guys can, well, I say that, but clearly I've already clicked through it this far. Sorry. Point is, it flies parallel to the ground, and then it zooms down on top of its target when it gets there. Yeah. I had problems getting this one to work because, like, adding a new missile is actually a lot of work. I gotta change the way my save system works to account for the new variable, the new boolean to, like, okay, they've seen this briefing, right? And really, there's an easier way to do this, I just realized. Like, I could just go through and make it all stuck to the room name, or the room index. So, how the room index works is GameMaker does it actually really simply, right? Like, your first room is just, I think it's... Ooh, that was cool. They're either 1 or 0. But every room after that, in order, is just ticking up by 1. And I could just save the room index of, like, what's the furthest you've been to, and then just use that. Like, I don't have to get as fancy as I am with this goofy Boolean stuff. Maybe I should try to redo that. Oh well, that's not on the docket for the end of November, or Devtober. That's a problem for future me. In the meantime, I'll tough it out with the kind of silly system I've got. So these Sidewinders, they're not perfect yet. They still need a little bit of tweaking. I only dreamed these up the other day, or like a week ago, and I only implemented them. Gosh, I want to say I built my first prototype of them immediately after last week's DevVlog. So they're still a little rough. They're like particle emitters for both of their engines. Haven't let one get over its target yet, but when they turn down, that little goofy secondary thing pops up. When you blow them up, they shoot up like that, which is fun. You can sometimes set off some cool chain reactions with that. I just saw a nasty couple of spikes on my... Yeah, that guy. See, the particles aren't quite emitting right from the secondary engine. The emitter's a little too big. That, you know, minor stuff to fix. And yeah, I'm getting some nasty spikes. I'm probably just talking too loud. Boom. Yeah, that should get all of them. Anyway, the whole point of these guys is to drag you down. Right? Like, you saw the first few levels. Again, I'm really good at this game, so I'm mostly up at the top of the map, right? And so the point of the Sidewinders is they force you to come down a bit. And if you get off of essentially spawn camping up here, right? The game gets harder because the missiles have a chance to spread out, and that makes certain things just sort of inherently harder. Oh, I forgot to mute my phone. That's probably my wife. Ooh, yeah, the dead time for that one's only 9 seconds. Anyway, 1-6, we're a little over halfway. This one will be just more Sidewinders with more other missiles mixed in. And like I said, I sometimes get hung up thinking that some of this stuff's a little too easy, but You know, I play this game more than anybody else. I break turn really aggressively. That's not something that everybody who plays the game does, so I shouldn't necessarily think it's too easy, if that makes any sense. Wow, sounds like I got a bunch of chain reactions out of that one, huh? I believe next level is the introduction of the fast missiles, which certainly makes things a bit more hectic. I want to say I just tweaked their speed. They're faster than they used to be. So, all of the missiles used to be 1 pixel per frame faster than they currently are now. But the map was also taller. I'm thinking about kind of going back to that, making the map a little taller and making all the missiles a little faster. But I don't know. Yeah, that. See, the emitter for the secondary engine on top is a little too wide. Oh, bummer. Oh, well. Yeah, here we go. Fast missile brief. Said if you guys have probably seen this before. And in a couple levels, we will see our first story beat. Yeah, what is up with that? I'm spiking like crazy. I must have bumped my mic. As soon as I get a minute, probably between waves, I'm going to adjust my mic position again. Yeah, I'm not making that one. Sometimes this is just a game about cutting your losses. You know what I'm saying? If there's too many missiles going too many places, sometimes you just gotta, you know, recognize you're gonna lose one. And I probably, like, I want to say I've 3-starred all these levels, how they're currently mixed. You know, I'm getting caught up talking to you guys. That's why making Let's Plays are so frustrating, because providing commentary is inherently kind of hard while you're playing a video game. And so, you know, nobody Let's Plays at 100%, right? Even guys who've been doing it for a really long time, if they're providing a running commentary, especially like what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to like explain complex systems. I'm not just like making jokes about current events, you know? This is complicated. At any rate, so recording a Let's Play is inherently hard, and so every comment section's full of people complaining that so-and-so isn't good enough at the game, and that's just, it's just obnoxious. Wow, I am gonna lose this one, aren't I? Whew. Looks like I'm not gonna lose it, but man. Turns out commentating about how hard commentary is also hard. That was me. If you heard me scuffing the mic, that was me moving a bit further away from my mouth. Try to keep it from spiking so much. I think I'm going to change the blast radius of all of my explosion creators a little bit. When I switched from object-based explosions to particle-based explosions, it feels like the radius got a little smaller, because I used to just create a bunch of stuff in like a big, like, you know, 100 pixel diameter square, but then on top of that, like, they were a little bigger. I don't know. It's just sometimes it feels pretty unsatisfying because you're looking at something and thinking, oh, bummer. Yeah, it's 2 missiles to half health. You're looking and thinking like, oh, those guys should chain react, and then you hit them with your sword and they don't, and it's a real bummer. So it's probably better to err on the side of having your explosions be a little too big rather than a little too small, especially in a game about fun explosions, right? I mean, that's just... Oh, that was cool. Yeah, so yeah, that guy's definitely gonna get him. I'm whiffing like crazy. Alright. Okay, so one of the things I realized I needed was a story beat before the big boss. And so I've essentially just repurposed my briefing system to do that. And it works fine. No problem. So none of you guys have seen this before. Last time I did it, I just clicked through it, let you guys read it in silence, and then I was like, no, that's dumb. I should have done voices. This time I'm going to do some voices. John, come in. It's urgent. I read you, Barry. What's wrong? The aliens are targeting DC. A lot of incoming. The White House is going to be targeted directly. I'll get there right away, Barry. No, John, don't. You have to save the civilians in the DC area. What? But the president! This is an order from the president, John. But you can't evacuate in time. You'll never make it to the airport. Save the civilians, John. The president has a backup plan. We're not sure it's going to work, but it's something. And the civilians have nothing. No, John, the civilians have you. If we don't make it, it's been an honor. You'll make it, Barry. You have to. Very melodramatic. Like I said, I'm going for like a early 90s action movie vibe, so you gotta ham it up, you know? So yeah, the president is trying to evacuate through some backup plan that they've got. And, you know, Barry's, of course, in charge of the Secret Service, so Barry's with her. And I've been ordered to save the civilians in the DC area. So let's hope I don't make a complete ass of it. Let's hope I save them, right? Let's hope I don't make a complete ass of myself and screw this up. So far, so good. But we're back to commentary, you know. I don't know if I even finished that thought before. Point is, commentary's hard, and Let's Plays suck, because the comments are usually full of people who are like, well, I could have done da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, yeah, well, you're not trying to entertain, you know, 1,000+ people. It completely changes the dynamic of how you play video games. And again, when you're trying to explain the game design you've done and justify the terrible design decisions you've made, that's very mentally taxing. More so than normal commentary, I would say, as someone who has done both. My God. Yeah. So another thing I'm working on is my explosions, right? You can see them. They have these spark particles. And they go from yellow to orange to red. I'm working on making them more colorful, so like every missile would choose a color when it's created, so they look more like fireworks. Okay, so this is the big set piece. This is the Air Force 1000. And this map is huge. It's much larger than a normal map. And yes, the health bar feels wrong. I know what the problem is. I just didn't get a chance to fix it between the last video and this one. So, it needs 2 engines at least in order to stay into the air. And the aliens are trying to knock it out of the floor, out of the sky. But yeah, the president escaped through secret tunnels underneath the White House to try to take off and get away on the Air Force 1000. I need a bunch of text here. Like, for one, it banks really sharply to the left there, or to the right. And it needs to say, like, you know, left side, because the missiles aren't just coming from above this time. I'm going to lose an engine. Oh, the particle system for the engine. It is also, I'm just not happy with it. I think it looks ugly, so. Yeah. Anyway. Oh my God. I also need the flash to happen. So yeah, I've got one more engine before we're out of there. Yeah, that's bad. I'm probably going to fail this, in which case I'll try it one more time, but I'm going to try to focus a bit better. At this point, they're going to the center, and the missiles are coming from literally every angle. Left, right, top, and one of the things that's supposed to happen is I'm supposed to spawn entirely too many missiles, and then, you know, like there's supposed to be a running dialogue about how the systems aren't all operational because this is just an experiment, you know, it's not supposed to be. Ooh, I did it. Okay. Ooh, lordy. That was really close, though. Really, really close. Anyway, they're like trying to get the flares online, and then they launch all the flares, and the flares will. I'm not entirely sure. It's supposed to be a big dramatic moment. There's missiles everywhere, and the flares all fire up, and I'm thinking about making it so that like half the missiles track to the flares, and if they hit a flare, they get exploded or something. Anyway, I'm not happy with any of that, so next week's going to be about making the tutorial work, making the boss battle work, and then making it so that both of them can display text in a way that I don't instantly hate. I was going to flight test for a little bit, just to, in fact, maybe I will flight test for just a little bit, just to talk us out, and like I said, how the flight test works is, it's Sidewinders and then random nonsense. I don't even know. It looks like kinetic missiles, micro missiles, and fast missiles. Yeah. Anyway, goal is, again, to have a demo out. I'm pretty close to having a demo done. I feel pretty good about it. I have a buddy working on new sprites for Air Force 1000 and for the briefings to make them look a little better. If I have time and money, it would be cool to have a better end slate than just the, ending of Metroid 1 because I'm nostalgic. But, no guarantees. Ideally, I will have this stuff, the demo finished and ready to go, at least privately to friends and other devs by the end of next week, because that's the goal. Pilot, my god, my cat is going crazy and knocking stuff all over my desk. At any rate, I'm going to finish this one out and duck out because I've got some audio editing to do, and then I've got some dinner to heat up because the wife's on the way home. Got a beef and barley stew in the slow cooker from yesterday. But yeah, that's Ninjectory. This is probably going to be my thing. Working on a survey for people who end up playing the demo. Oh! That was really slick, if I say so myself. I am not going to make it there, though. Alright. But that's Ninjectory. I'm Sergeant Indy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.